Yeah, welcome again to another session of the 17th annual Transforming the Teaching and Learning Environment Virtual Conference. We have with us today John Steele, professor at Grand Canyon University's Department of Teaching, Department of Online Teaching and Learning. And believe it or not, he's got 18 years of experience in education. Has a real passion for fostering meaningful learning experiences. And he's particularly interested in the intersection of psychology and technology. Yeah, exploring innovative strategies to create dynamic, engaging, and effective online experience. What a radical idea. You also have Thomas Dyer, who's professor in the Department of Online Teaching and Learning at Grand Canyon University. 16 years of experience in higher ed and online education. PhD research focused on social presence, which led to the dissertation online full-time faculty descriptions of social presence, the development of social presence literacy. Well, I got to get that one from the library. And we have Jacob Era, an associate professor, also at Grand Canyon, worked in higher ed for over 15 years, has been a full-time faculty member at Grand Canyon since 2011. He's collaborated on over 10 presentations and written several publications emphasizing social presence and student engagement using technology, gamification, and metacognition. So, without further ado, let me turn it over to that trio.
All right, thanks, Bob. Well, I want to welcome everybody. And before we start, I do want to take a moment to thank Bob for allowing us the opportunity to present at the Transforming the Teaching and Learning Environment virtual commerce conference. We're excited to be here. I think I remember back in 2014, John and I had our first opportunity to present at this conference. And I think back then it was part of the Pennsylvania higher education system, perhaps, Bob. But that was a great experience, and we're happy to be here again. So thank you all for joining us. You're at Awareness to Action, integrating AI literacy into online education. As we all know, AI is rapidly shaping how we teach and learn. And our goal today is to explore how we can empower students with AI literacy in meaningful and ethical ways. So throughout this presentation, we'll walk you through our research, course design, and some practical strategies to integrate AI literacy effectively. Let's get started. So just to give you a little roadmap of our session, here's what we'll cover today. We'll start with an introduction to AI literacy, what it is, why it matters, and its growing role in online education. Then we're going to walk you through our study, objectives, our course design. We'll be highlighting how we structured AI-focused activities to enhance student engagement and learning. Next, we'll share our research design and methodology, and then we will highlight key findings and student feedback. Next, we'll discuss the challenges and opportunities and some next steps. Finally, we'll conclude with an interactive demo, and if time permits, a discussion. So throughout this session, we encourage questions and dialogue, so feel free to engage as we go. All right, so we'll start with our welcome and introduction. As Bob already noted, my name is Thomas Dyer. I have been with Grand Canyon University for a little over 16 years, and I focus on research mostly around social presence and integrating technology in the online classroom. And I'll go ahead and allow John and Jacob to introduce themselves real quick.
I'm John Steele. I'm a professor at Grand Canyon University as well. Been there just a little bit shorter time than Tom. I think about 15 years now, maybe 14 years. And just really interested in AI and technology and how we can help students learn in the online format.
I'm Jacob Ottos, everyone, and been here about the same. I feel like I started around the same time that John did. So, so about 14 years, and I have a lot of interests, and I think when it comes to AI, especially, that's I think something that I know I have a lot of questions on, and so when I have a lot of questions on something, my my first reaction is to kind of stick my head in the sand. So I'm trying to do something different and throw myself into it. And so that's why I'm very grateful to John and Tom for letting me kind of tag along in this study. And so I'm excited. So I want to just thank you all again for attending this session. And so hopefully we got some good stuff for you. And thanks again, Tom and John, for letting me tag along.
All right, thanks, guys. So I'd like to do a quick reflective activity before we jump head first. On the screen, you're going to see a series of images. I want you to take a moment, select one image that best represents how your week has gone. Then, if you'd like, pick the same or maybe a different image to describe how you're feeling about today's session so far. So there's no right or wrong answer here. Just go with what resonates with you. You can feel free to jump in the chat to do this. You can share an image number and maybe give us a little rationale. Or if you'd like, you can raise your hand and we can get you on the mic and you can share that as well. So just take a minute and go through those images and share what stands out for you. All right, seeing some jumping on the chat. Hans, I'd love for you to and Bob maybe to share why number one. I think I have a pretty good idea why Bob chose one, but love to know why you chose one, Hans. Six. All right, Anna. I wish I was with you, but not there yet. Maybe after this session, I'll be there. Five questions. Great. I'm glad you're here, Wendy. I'm glad you have a lot of questions, and hopefully, we can give you some answers or at least some direction to get some answers. All right, Angela, I think I saw one and six. So six is how maybe you're feeling about today's session. One is your week. All right. This week in today's session, number five from Shannon. Lots of questions. Awesome. Well, you're in the right spot, I hope. Yeah, looks difficult and it's been a busy and hectic week for sure. One is like maybe your week felt like an uphill battle, right? But you're pushing through. So either you're the horse or the car. You have to decide, I guess. So two for this week, yeah, like a confused cat in the shower feeling out of her element, right? Unexpected challenges and things like that for sure. Okay, one, you had a different approach. I like that, Angela. Erica, three. So your week has either felt like a gift to you, or maybe you're giving a gift of your presence throughout the week. So awesome. All right. Thank y'all for jumping in there. We appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and move forward now. All right. So let's take a moment to acknowledge something important. AI is simply just a tool, right? It is just like any other tech tool that we have used over the years, especially if you've taught online for some time, there's always some sort of ed tech tool that has been presented to us and we've tried in our classroom. Some have stuck for a long time, some didn't last. But it's just a tool. It's not a replacement for human intelligence, creativity, and critical thinking, and we can't allow it to be. So I do have to give you a disclaimer. I borrowed this picture from Wendy Fritz of UW-Madison, who presented earlier in the week. She presented teaching with AI activities and prompts that you can enhance and engage. And I thought it was a great metaphor. And so if you did not get a chance to attend that session, I highly encourage you to go back and watch the recording. It was a fantastic session. But let's talk about this poor camper here, right? She's trying to start a fire, but unfortunately, it's inside the tent. Now, this is a great metaphor for AI. Just because you have the tools doesn't mean you're using them correctly. This is something we have to tell ourselves and our students. AI can be incredibly helpful, but without human judgment, well, things might go up in flames pretty quickly. So in this session, we probably have a range of AI users, and we've kind of gotten an idea of that in the chat already. Maybe you're a super user, the kind of person who's experimenting, automating, pushing the boundaries of what AI can do for you. Or maybe you're an AI skeptic, cautiously observing, wondering if AI really is all it's cracked up to be. And then there's the AI curious. You dipped your toe in, but you're still trying to figure out where it fits. So no matter where you fall on the spectrum, this session is about awareness and action. We're not here to convince you to use AI in every aspect of your teaching. In fact, we would ask you not to do that, but rather to help you think critically about its role and how you can leverage it effectively without setting fire to the tent. So let's talk about some AI literacy and the foundation of our project. So in this course that we all teach the same course. I'll talk a little bit more about that here shortly. But in this course, we introduce AI literacy as a foundational skill for students navigating an increasingly AI-driven world. So AI literacy involves understanding how AI tools function, their capabilities, and their limitations. It empowers students to critically assess AI-generated content and use these tools effectively in their academic and professional work. So we want to be able to help our students understand AI's capabilities and their limitations. While AI can assist with brainstorming and drafting and refining ideas, it's not infallible, right? Students in our classes have learned to evaluate AI outputs critically, identifying accuracies and biases. We also made sure they considered the ethics involved in AI and some practical applications. So a key focus was a responsible AI use, helping our students understand issues like plagiarism, data privacy, and ethical AI interactions. Our students applied AI tools to enhance their writing while maintaining this academic integrity. Let's talk a little bit about its importance in online education. So beyond individual skills, AI literacy plays a crucial role in shaping the future of online education. And really, it has already, and will continue to impact every aspect of everything we do in life. And so most of our students need to have some literacy. They need to have a preparation when they go out into the workforce on how to use AI ethically and correctly. We want to prepare our students for this AI-driven future. As AI becomes more integrated into professional educational settings, students have to develop these skills to navigate these tools responsibly and effectively. Throughout this project, we hoped to enhance engagement and learning outcomes as well. So we can use AI to personalize learning, provide instant feedback, and support creativity. By incorporating AI into coursework, we explored ways to make online education more interactive, adaptive, and engaging. So through this course, students developed a critical understanding of AI, equipping them with the skills to use these tools thoughtfully and strategically in their academic journey. Well, let's talk a little bit about our study objectives and our course design. So this study explored the integration of AI literacy and online learning, focusing on 5 key objectives. First, we have AI literacy. We wanted to assess how weekly activities build students' proficiency in using AI tools effectively and ethically in their academic work. Our next, our next objective is personalized learning. Students were able to share their perceptions of how AI tools support individualized learning experiences by adapting to their unique writing and research needs. Third, we looked at student engagement. We examined whether incorporating AI enhances participation, motivation, and overall interaction in an asynchronous online environment. Fourth, tool feedback. We wanted to gather students' insights on specific AI tools so that it would help us understand those tools' strengths, their limitations, and the usability in educational contexts. And then 5, curriculum integration. We identified best practices for embedding AI literacy into online courses, ensuring that students gain practical, transferable skills. Now let's look at our course design. The course was structured to facilitate hands-on learning with AI tools in an online setting. Our course is a 7-week online asynchronous course. Students explored a curated list of AI tools, including ChatGPT, Gemini, Bing, Perplexity. There were several options. to compare functionalities and apply them to their writing process. Each week, we structure our course. We focus on a scaffolded approach to writing. We wanted to ensure that students were able to build their skills progressively throughout the term. So each week features targeted assignments that guide students through the writing process step by step. The class that we teach is a composition course. It's like the second course students take in their undergrad. So it's all about information literacy and writing, academic writing and library skills. So like in week one, students do a brainstorming and choosing a topic assignment. Week two, they gather resources. Week three, they start writing an outline. So we take them through the entire writing process. Week four, they write a first draft. Week five, they do a self-assessment. Week six, there's a final draft where they're critically reviewing their own work and identifying areas of improvement. And then finally, in week 7, we have a self-reflection where students reflect on the writing process. So again, this class is writing focused. The curriculum emphasize improving writing skills, encouraging creativity, and then fostering AI comprehension through interactive and reflective exercises. And that's what we have. We had these scaffolded activities each week. So in week one, we would start by introducing AI as a tool, inviting students to explore the different platforms. They can select a tool from a curated list. So we gave them several options, like I mentioned earlier, ChatGPT, Bard, Perplexity. In week two, we would have them integrate AI into the brainstorming phase of the writing process. So students would take their main topic from the brainstorming and beginning research assignment, and then use AI to generate subtopics. Then they would reflect on whether AI helped expand their ideas to share their findings in a discussion post. So this activity encouraged students to see AI as a brainstorming partner rather than a replacement for critical thinking. In week three, we generated AI-generated thesis statements. So the students would prompt AI to create a mapped thesis statement based on their subtopics and then compare it to their own created thesis statement. So this step helped our students to evaluate AI-generated content for clarity and conciseness while reinforcing their own analytical skills. In week four, we moved into a critical analysis. So we had students review an AI-generated essay, and they would then have to, in a discussion post, identify the weaknesses, such as any incoherent content, factual inaccuracies, or missing citations. This reinforces the importance of human oversight when using AI-generated text. In week five, students would apply AI to academic integrity, specifically citation formatting. They would prompt AI to critique their APA reference page and then reflect on whether the AI's feedback was accurate. This type of activity encourages students to cross-check AI outputs rather than rely on them blindly. And then in week six, we would focus on refining writing flow. So students use AI to generate transition sentences between supporting paragraphs and then evaluate the AI suggestions. The goal of this activity emphasized AI as a revision tool rather than an original writer. And then finally, in week 7, we would wrap up with a personalized AI reflection. Students would prompt AI to analyze their communication strengths and areas for growth within their field of study. So this metacognitive activity really helped them to think critically about how AI can enhance their professional development. All right. Next, I'm going to throw it over to John. He's going to take us through our research design and methodology.
Hey, thanks, Tom. All right, so this was an exploratory descriptive study. We used a mixed methods approach. So for the quantitative part, we had just a few very basic demographic questions. And the purpose of these was, so we had like age, financial situation, field of study, and the AI tool used. And we wanted these to be applicable to the AI that we were doing in the class, the few demographic questions that we used. And then for the quantitative portion, we had a 5-point Likert scale with 24 AI literacy items, and we looked at 5 different domains. So we wanted to gauge their cognitive understanding, and an example of that would be like a statement like, I understand the limitations and capabilities of current AI technology. And we had 4 to 5 statements for each one of these domains. Then ethical literacy, and that would be something like I understand the potential societal impact of AI technologies. Then we also wanted to look at practical applications, and that could be something like I can explain how AI is applied in different fields like healthcare, finance, or education. And then hands-on experience. And this was kind of an important one that tied back to some of the demographic questions as well, because we wanted to see if students were coming into this with any hands-on experience or lots of hands-on experience. So this was a good way to gauge our activities and kind of make adjustments to the AI activities we were doing in class. And that was something just as simple as I have hands-on experience with AI tools and platforms. And then the last one was kind of this lifelong learning. And that would be something like I am open to learning new AI technologies and methodologies. And that's kind of just whether they kind of had a skeptic view or an optimistic view of AI. And then we had a few different open-ended questions for the qualitative portion that we themed and kind of broke down into categories. And this was all collected in a SurveyMonkey in our classes. Then we just had a couple basic research questions. And again, these were trying to get kind of at the value of our AI activities that we were doing. So how do students perceive the value and relevance of AI in their academic, professional, and personal contexts of participating in AI activities? And then we kind of wanted to know what the extent was that these AI activities could improve their understanding of AI principles, such as the ethical considerations, just basic AI principles, and practical applications. And how did these AI tools influence students' confidence in using them and their willingness to incorporate AI in their future endeavors and even in their careers, kind of thinking about that far down the road. And then how do students plan to use the AI knowledge that they gain in further activities and academic and professional pursuits? So we'll just kind of take a quick look at some of the results and key findings here. So the financial situation. So over 50% of students kind of describe themselves as financially stable but budget conscious. And this kind of highlighted that a significant portion of students who may need affordable AI education tools and resources. And why this is important is because, as you may know, a lot of these AI tools may require a paid subscription or fee, which is why it was important, we felt, to have this question. And about 19% faced regular financial hardship, indicating whom cost-free or subsidized access to AI tools might be essential. And no respondents reported significant disposable income, which again suggests this importance on affordability of AI tools and technologies. So there was very limited practical exposure. Not even 60% reported hands-on experience with AI tools, and with the weighted average of the 5-point Likert scale at 2.44. And participation in AI projects or simulations was even lower at 53%, suggesting a lack of practical application opportunities. But there was a desire for experience. Many wanted more opportunities to gain practical AI experience, as shown by nearly 50%, and highlighting an unmet demand for kind of this experiential learning in AI. So when we looked at the different tools, and ChatGPT pretty much dominated their selection, as 52 respondents have used ChatGPT or use it at least occasionally. And another 29% had never used any of these AI options. Other tools that were kind of less popular. So we also included kind of on this curated list, Gemini, Bing, Perplexity, Midjourney, but ChatGPT kind of dominated that, and Gemini was a distant second. And their proficiency was really limited with AI. Few respondents could describe themselves as highly proficient in using AI tools, and this kind of demonstrates the need for skill building in the AI realm. So here's some of the quantitative findings. So understanding the AI principles, almost 60% either strongly agreed or agreed that they understood, the basic fundamental AI principles. In kind of a real world context, fewer than 50% could explain the AI applications in their various fields, indicating potential gaps in applied AI literacy. Almost 77% strongly agreed or agreed that they did have some understanding of the ethical considerations and things like data privacy, algorithmic bias, and that at least reflects a strong awareness of AI ethics. And 85% agreed or strongly agreed that it's important to consider these ethics when using AI. Now, 62% of students are familiar with the concept of AI fairness, but 20% were kind of in the neutral or middle ground, and the weighted average was 2.07 for that. 71% believe that AI plays a significant role in the creative industries, with only 26% feeling highly confident in distinguishing AI assisted from human driven creativity. Now we'll look at a little bit of the engagement with AI and kind of the advancements. So there was low engagement with AI updates. Few respondents regularly follow any AI developments or engage in any AI learning opportunities. These findings suggested, a need for structured encouragement and integration of AI into educational settings, even discussing things like updates or current AI news. Over 50%, though, felt very adaptable to AI's rapid evolution, and at least that showed some confidence and room for growth in maintaining relevance with AI. And so here were kind of some of these questions that we had. So, what aspects of AI activities do you find most valuable? And these were for the qualitative portion of our mixed method study. What was your initial expectation of the generative AI activities, and how did they actually compare to? So, what we were basically looking for here was if there was any skepticism or resistance, or if they were more optimistic. Then, sorry, jumping back to the first one, we were kind of looking at their practical benefits or the value. And then in the third question, we were just saying, how do you plan to or have you applied the AI knowledge and skills in this course in your future endeavors? And that was kind of a future looking, how they felt about it moving forward and into the future, and if they gained anything valuable. And do you feel that your AI knowledge, basically, how has it grown during this course? And we were trying to look at their engagement level and AI literacy improvement. So then we kind of theme these out. So in the practical benefits, we found about 30% found practical benefits in using it for writing assistance. And most of these were things like correcting mistakes or kind of proofreading, kind of things similar to like what maybe Grammarly would do. And there's an example there, AI helps me correct and make my sentences better for essays. AI also helps me come up with new ideas about certain topics. So that could have even partially been a brainstorming. Then about 25% noted it for brainstorming, such as I believe AI is the most valuable in brainstorming ideas. About another 20% used it for research and fact checking, with an example being I think using AI to find credible sources is a valuable aspect. It is also good for fact checking your work, which could be concerning. And then task automation, the aspect of AI to do tedious tasks quickly is beneficial to me. And then feedback and guidance, they love the idea of being able to ask questions and get answers instantly. So now kind of looking at the kind of skepticism or resistance to generative AI activities. 25% had low expectations. They did not expect effective answers, but did receive okay responses. Some of them were positively surprised. Like, I didn't think AI would be so detailed and thorough. I thought it would be glitchy and weird, but it definitely is not. About 20% had concerns about AI. I think it is pretty cool that AI can do things for us, but as always, when it is too much, like all the fake AI celebrity stuff. Then some had skepticism before use, So initially I was skeptical, but I found the prompts were very helpful or are very useful. And those were kind of the prompts that we provided with our activities to kind of guide them. And then there's still about 10% that were anxious or overwhelmed, where they would say, like, at first I was unsure and confused because I've never done anything involving AI, so it was new to me. All right, now these last two here. This one was for the engagement levels, and we actually found 40% found significant growth. So an example would be, yes, my knowledge of AI and how to use it has definitely grown during this course. I've gained a deeper understanding of its capabilities and practical applications. Then another 20% had moderate growth, which we categorized as something like this, like somewhat I had a decent grasp of it beforehand, but I learned how to apply AI more effectively. Then there were some who had minimal or no growth. Uh, no, my knowledge of AI stayed the same prior to this course. Then there were some that kind of answered it in a practical understanding kind of manner. Yes, I learned how to use AI to benefit my writing. And then there was still some negative or skeptical experience. I don't feel like it helped me grow during this course. I prefer to work outside of using it as little as possible. So then kind of looking at the future applications of AI knowledge, we had educational use. So I plan on using AI in my future career of teaching. I've gained so much insight from this one course. Professional development was 25%, and I plan to use AI to improve my wording when writing academically for professional emails. Creative problem solving. While attempting to be creative and coming up with broader ideas, I will utilize AI. It's awesome to experiment with. And then with research and writing assistance, I plan to ask for suggestions with grammar and use it for brainstorming. And then there were some who had limited or conditional use. So I will use AI sparingly when it comes to coursework, but I think it is a great resource for generating ideas. And next was the challenges and opportunities.
All
So
right.
as oh, go ahead, Jacob.
Sorry. Thanks, John. So as we jumped into the access barriers, and I know that it was really highlighted by the feedback that John covered, but financial constraints initially do not seem to appear to heavily limit AI availability, but it's something to certainly keep an eye on as we move forward. Because we have certainly seen that there are paywalls that are starting to go up. We see subscriptions that are being required for new versions of, for example, of Chat GPT. I mean, and we've seen in the news with some new new developments that are coming out as far as AI. So that's certainly something that we want to keep an eye out. And just given the demographics and of the students that we worked with, there aren't a lot of students that have a lot of disposable income. And it's always interesting. I know that for us, the three of us, we've worked in higher education for a long time, and access has always been something that has we've always wanted to keep our eye on. Whether, it was for a while it was, access to computer regularly. And so now, we're going to keep an eye kind of on now AI. So that's something to keep an eye on. So what the focus areas for AI literacy programs that arose were kind of three areas specifically, and that was or three dimensions rather. And so we wanted AI literacy programs should focus on balancing between theoretical knowledge around ethics and then practical skills on experience and adaptability. And theoretical knowledge is, again, and it was kind of touched on in some of our earlier slides, that's focusing on defining like what AI ethics, and that's helping students address moral implications around AI use. Experience would be looking at model-based learning and looking for opportunities to give our students a chance to interact and use AI. And then adaptability is looking at and focusing on that continually upscaling AI skill use and always looking at growing uh, our skills when it comes to using AI. And then with curriculum development, to enhance AI literacy, we want to look for integrating hands-on experience with explicit instruction on ethical considerations, as these dimensions likely work synergistically rather than independently. So we want to provide training models for each area. Again, ethics, experience, and adaptability. And we want to provide training models for each of these areas. So when we think of that theoretical knowledge, and we think of ethics specifically, we would want to consider exploring or covering ideas like fairness, transparency, accountability, privacy, and we want to keep an eye out for AI laws and guidelines as those continue to come in focus for us. When it comes to experience, for curriculum development, we want to really focus on case studies, things like chatbot design, and provide exposure to machine learning and platforms. And then for adaptability, we want to really emphasize for our students curriculum that helps them evaluate AI outputs and help them be able to avoid kind of, I guess, relying too heavily on automated decision making. And again, so that's that idea of being able to really evaluate and think critically on the AI use and application. So now we'd like to jump into a little bit of a demonstration and then kind of go into a discussion. So Tom had talked a little bit earlier about each of the activities that we walked our students through and how the course that we taught was scaffolded. And so we're going to show you a little bit of what everything that we did looked like. So this in particular is the subtopic activity. And so we just wanted to show you what this looked like to our students. So Tom mentioned in week 1 for our students, we give them an opportunity to pick a topic. Now, in our course is a composition class. And so we're asking our students, or we're walking our students through putting together a paper and an essay, a college level essay, writing it, structuring it, looking for research and evaluating that information. So the content of our class isn't so much the topic of our student's essay, and because it's the process of putting that together. And because of that, we have a curated list of topics that we give to students. And in week 1, we ask them to pick the topic, and then we ask them to come up with subtopics that they're going to use to help develop that topic. And then this subtopic activity we gave to them in week 2. And this was great because, as you can see, it gave them an opportunity to go through and use AI to generate subtopics using the topic that they selected. So they were able to use AI to see how the subtopics that AI generated stacked up against the subtopics that they had already created. And I think what was really important, and what was really great about the design that John and Tom came up with was the reflective piece. Because not only in these activities did we give students an opportunity to use the AI tool, but as you can see, we also asked them to reflect, to evaluate, and to analyze how the AI tool worked, and to be able to see how it was effective, or maybe maybe their subtopics were better. And so in the next slides, I'm actually going to show you kind of what this looked like within our classroom. So this is an example of this would be in week 3. This is the thesis statement example, and so this is where we asked our students to then take their thesis statement and take that into the AI, and to see and to ask AI to generate a thesis statement using their topic. And so this is an example of the prompt that we would put in, and then in the next slide, you can see some of the responses that we got back. And what was great is, as you can see, the students were asked to share the prompt that they used, and then they were asked to share the prompt that or the thesis statement that AI gave back, and then they were asked to share their thoughts about it. And they were asked to evaluate what they thought of that thesis statement. And it was great to see their evaluation of that thesis statement. And they were able to say in some instances that it was perhaps more concise, that they thought it was maybe better than theirs, and they were going to consider using it. They were able to evaluate perhaps that it was going in a direction that they didn't like. Maybe they saw that it was going off topic for what they needed for our particular class, because staying on topic in our class is very important. So this was not only an opportunity for them to use AI to reflect on it, but also we were able to begin getting into the idea of prompt engineering and understanding how they can start playing around with different inputs to get better outputs. So we'll move on to the next slide. And this is an example. This comes from Tom's class, and he mentioned earlier this is from our week 4 activity, and this was an essay evaluation. This was the essay evaluation activity where we shared an essay and we asked students to evaluate it. This essay was generated by AI, and it was there. You can see on the bottom we shared it as an attachment, and so the students would look at it and they would evaluate it. And then on the next slide you can see um, the different evaluations, the different thoughts that they had. And so this was an opportunity to get students again to look and see the different capabilities that AI had, and the I guess the benefits and the negatives that AI had, and the appropriate ways that AI can be used. It's with literacy, the the idea is getting students uh, the opportunity to see or a better expression of AI and how it can be used, so that the the stronger the understanding they have of AI and how it can be used, we see some positive movement in their use of it. So they're not going to necessarily want to use it in a negative way. That's not to say that we don't see, we don't see AI being used inappropriately, but this has been positive to see students wanting to use it in the right ways. So, I'd like to open this up to everybody, and I'd like to just have a little bit of discussion. Now that we've gone through everything, I would really like to ask everybody, what is one activity or one way you might be able to integrate AI literacy into your class, given your content? And I'd like you to just go ahead and drop that into the chat, and then we'll give it a couple minutes, and once we do that, we can discuss, and then we can jump into any questions that anybody might have.
And if you'd prefer to jump on the mic, you could do that as well, if that's easier than sharing in the chat.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll give it about 30 more seconds. There we go. Let's see. So Angela said, I teach biological anthropology and I'm considering having students use AI to make predictive models. Love it. To explore how the forces of evolution will affect populations with various ecological constraints. For example, changes at allele frequencies within large and small populations. Awesome. And I would love to know a little more about maybe how the literacy part would fit into that. Would you have them compare to other models that are not AI created? And then Bambi shared, I've been thinking about this, and in nursing, I'm trying out TutorBot, okay, to help students with questions outside of class hours. Awesome. I know Jacob has a little experience with that as well. Absolutely, Angela. You can turn on your camera, jump on the mic. We invite you to do that.
I think my camera's on. I'm not showing up, so I can't tell. So for the literacy portion, yes, possibly comparing it to published literature. Um, that would sort of be sort of the only recourse because if I'm having doing predictive modeling and then it's all experimental. Um, my biggest struggle actually in using AI in my courses is that my course really isn't a writing based course. It's more exploratory, more hands-on,
Mhm.
um, and I just don't see a lot of resources for AI in that area. Almost all of it's still sort of geared towards writing. But this is one way I'm thinking about trying to incorporate it in my class. Um, yeah, so I don't know. It's all it for me. It's still all very experimental.
Do you use case studies in your
Well,
class or
sometimes yes,
okay.
definitely. Because my class is broken down into different units. So the first unit is genetics. Second unit is primate research. Then the last unit is hominin evolution. So we definitely talk about case studies and we definitely do read some legitimate research in that. But because this is an introductory course too, like I have to be careful about assigning genetic papers to my
Okay.
students because there's no prereq for that
Mm.
class.
So you have a
Um,
lot of people who are just in.
yes, yeah.
Right. Okay. I got
Yeah.
you.
So, but my biggest goal for this is not necessarily to really teach them how to understand genetics, but I do want them to be able to learn how to use AI for my course as well, for anthropology, not
Hmm.
just in writing, which it is important in writing as well. But because like as you mentioned before, um, how students will apply AI outside of the classroom in all their various fields. Um, but I think a lot of times the humanities kind of gets left out of that consideration. So, and a lot of my students won't be going into, I don't know, let's say fields where AI is used a lot, but it could be advantageous, maybe for doing data research, that sort of stuff, or sociology. So I just want them to get that taste of it and using it in a legitimate way, rather than using it for cheating, which is what I've been seeing mostly so far.
Mm. Yeah.
And I would say that's why we kind of really felt that it was kind of important to create these activities because we really wanted to make sure we know students are going to use it anyways, and that some students are using it. So we really wanted to kind of model the ethical behavior and kind of the ways they can use it in a responsible way, but that could also benefit them because we know, it's coming either way. So we might as well be on the side of helping them use it and showing them how to use it appropriately.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
It is, I mean, and doing this has also helped me, um, I guess when I've seen students maybe use it inappropriately, have that conversation with them, to try to steer things back in the right path in a positive way, in a restorative way, so that we can move forward in a positive direction and and still have a strong relationship and still get through the class and still keep them on track. Just to John's point, it's been a benefit of this.
Another one I noticed, I'm not sure if Tom and Jacob have as well, but I think even just by having some activities, students are then aware that you're aware of it and that you know how to use it and that you know what it is. And I think that sometimes even in a way will deter them from maybe using it for cheating if they know that you're aware of it and you know how to use it.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Yep, I know we are out of time. So if there are any final questions or anything you wanted to share, you can definitely email either one of us. Um, we'll skip to that point, but these are our email. This is how you can get a hold of us: john.steele@gcu.edu, thomas.dyer@gcu.edu, and jacob.autos@gcu.edu. So we thank you all for attending and hope that you have a great rest of conference today and next week.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. I had forgotten it was way back in 2014 and we first got you. Wow.
Yeah, I think even when we did our first one with you, I don't even think there was video at that point yet. I think it was just audio.
We always had it. We
Oh, really?
first
Okay.
used Blackboard Collaborate.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah,
Hey, you guys always have something interesting and useful for us. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
thank you for the opportunity.